Ukraine has shared footage of Russia's large-scale drone and bomb attacks on Kharkiv and Kherson cities, overnight on June 5. Sharing the footage of the attack on Kharkiv on Telegram, the mayor Igor Terekov described the Russian strike with Shahed drones as a targeted terror against residential areas, and against ordinary Kharkiv residents. The enemy today hit the residential buildings of peaceful Kharkiv residents with Shaheds. These are not strikes on military targets, Terekov wrote. The video footage shows strong explosions in high-rise buildings in the city. 6 Russian strikes have been recorded, 2 of them were direct strikes on apartment buildings. 13 people were injured in the attack. Ukrainian Telegram channels also shared video footage of Russian attacks on southern city of Kherson, in which glide bombs targeted a government building, damaged residential buildings and injured 2 people. Strong blast is visible in the footage. 4 guided aerial bombs were launched at the city during 15 minutes. Governor Putin said that the Russian strikes on Kherson caused greater damage to the Kherson Regional State Administration building, which Russians had attacked several times before. The entrance of a multi-story building was also destroyed, and windows in the surrounding houses were broken and facades were damaged, the official emphasized. Rescue workers have been brought to the area. 4 persons have been rescued from the blocked basement. Before the start of the full-scale invasion, the aggressor country Russia had 15,000 units of Soviet armored vehicles in its warehouses. However, now, according to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, approximately 11,000 tanks have been destroyed. This was stated by military political analyst, co-chairman of the public initiative Right Cause Dmitry Snegirev in an interview with Glavrid. According to him, the Russians are modernizing Soviet models of equipment. In particular, these are T-62, T-54 and T-55 tanks. He also added that OSINT intelligence and researchers believe that there are just over 4,000 tanks left in Russian warehouses. Almost half of them are not combat ready. And when the Russians say that they still have 1,500 units of armored vehicles, they are talking about restored Soviet equipment. In fact, their production capabilities allow them to produce a maximum of 100 to 150 units of the latest armored vehicles per year. And this is catastrophically little, he emphasized. Snegirev noted that Russia still has a large mobilization resource. If earlier there was data about 20 million people, now the head of the Foreign Intelligence Service of Ukraine has announced an increase of another 5 million people. And here we may have problems. The Russians will use the tactics of the Second World War, the so-called meat assaults, the analyst concluded. The first T-54 prototype was completed at Nizhny Tagil by the end of 1945. From the late 1950s, the T-54 eventually became the main tank for armored units of the Soviet Army, armies of the Warsaw Pact countries, and many others. The T-54 had thicker hull armor. The 100mm gun fired BR-412 series full-caliber APG ammunition, which had superior penetration ability when compared to the T-34 that it replaced. It could hold 34 shells and usually came with 2 7.62mm machine guns. Some models had a 12.7mm anti-aircraft gun. The T-54-55 is the most produced tank in military history. The Soviets produced a staggering 83,500 tanks. The Poles and Czechs made 21,000 more. China cloned it and made sure North Korea, North Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia had as many as they needed. T-54s and T-55s have been involved in many of the world's armed conflicts since their introduction in the second half of the 20th century. Perhaps one of the most battle-tested tanks ever. According to the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Russia has sufficient missile stockpiles to carry out massive attacks on Ukrainian territory. The aggressor country continuously replenishes its missile resources, causing serious concern. As of mid-May 2025, Russia possessed significant reserves of various types of missiles. Specifically, the missile inventory is as follows: Iskander-M ballistic missiles, about 600 units, Kinzhal hypersonic aeroballistic missiles, over 100 units, Iskander-K cruise missiles, nearly 300 units, X-101 cruise missiles, over 300 units, Kalibr cruise missiles, over 400 units, X-22-32 cruise missiles, up to 300 units, Onyx cruise missiles and Zircon hypersonic anti-ship missiles, 700 units, North Korean KN-23 ballistic missiles, 60 units, surface-to-air guided missiles for S-300P/S-400 systems, about 11,000 units. The main intelligence directorate also emphasized that Russia is capable of producing new missiles within a month, including Iskander-M, 60-70 units, Kinzhal, 10-15 units, Iskander-K, 20-30 units, X-101, 60-70 units, Kalibr, 25-30 units, X-32, up to 10 units, Onyx and Zircon, 20-30 units in total. Earlier reports indicated that the US considers the possibility of a large-scale Russian strike on Ukraine in response to attacks on Russian airfields. Although US intelligence has not yet identified specific targets for such strikes, drone attacks on civilian infrastructure and Ukraine's energy system, as well as ballistic missile bombardments, cannot be ruled out. Now, before these missiles can be launched, Ukraine is planning to destroy the warehouses where they are stored with drones. This is considered possible after Security Service of Ukraine's Spiderweb operation. On June 1, Russia reported drone attacks in 4 regions. According to sources, the Security Service of Ukraine carried out drone strikes against the bomber aviation of the Russian aerospace forces. The attacks targeted military airbases, including Belia in the Irkutsk region, Olynya airfield in the Murmansk region, as well as military airfields in Dyagilevo in the Ryazan region and Ivanova in the Ivanova region of Russia. SBU head Vasyl Malyuk reported that the operation damaged 41 aircraft, including A-50, Tu-95, Tu-22M3, and Tu-160 models. Preparation for this operation lasted over a year and a half, and the estimated value of the damaged Russian strategic aircraft is about $7 billion.